Welcome to Empower Her Radio, the space for powerhouse women ready to step into their next level of abundance, purpose, and personal freedom. I'm Dr. Corey Winn, a high performance coach, doctor of physical therapy, philanthropist, and business consultant. I help ambitious women align with their highest calling, expand their wealth and impact, and create a life that feels as good as it looks. If you're a high achieving woman who's built success yet finds yourself craving more alignment, more purpose, more ease, you're in the right place. Here, we bridge the gap between ambition and fulfillment. Through transformative conversations and proven strategies, you'll gain the courage to step into the fullest expression of you. Build a powerhouse business that aligns with your expertise and divine gifts, and lead your life, both personally and professionally, with unshakable confidence, worthiness, and compassion. This is about expansion, legacy, and owning your power unapologetically. You already have everything inside of you to create a life of unlimited possibility. It's time to unlock it. Welcome to your next level. Let's dive in. Hello and welcome, everyone. Today on Empower Her Radio, we're diving into a conversation that so many women need, but so often don't have: navigating midlife with strength, confidence, and purpose. My guest today is Torild Boe Stokes, a CPD-accredited menopause coach, speaker, and workplace consultant. She is the co-founder of Your Health, Our Wealth, a groundbreaking initiative launching in Oslo this year, dedicated to turning menopause awareness into action in workplaces and beyond. With a background in high-pressure corporate sales and marketing and firsthand experience of navigating perimenopause during a career and life transition, Torild brings a unique blend of professional insight, personal transformation, and actionable strategies. Her mission is to empower women to reclaim their energy, confidence, and purpose during midlife, turning what many see as a challenging time into an opportunity. If you've ever felt exhausted, unseen, or disconnected from the vibrant woman you once were, this conversation is for you. Torild, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Corey. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about your journey and how you ended up where you are right now.
Yes, who would have thought? So when I was in my career, late 30s, I traveled a lot. I traveled all over the world to organize events, and I had three young boys at home. And I lived in London. I'm from Norway originally, but I lived in London, was married to a British man. And yeah, we had three boys traveling to China. And it was on my last trip to China with work, organizing events, that I really realized how much I missed my kids. So I decided to go all in and quit my job. And so I found myself in the playground full time, which as much as I loved my boys, I did find it a little bit boring. It was so extreme from one extreme to the other. And then at the same time, things were sort of starting to change. I was around 40, beginning 40. And I noticed, I was also, or we were going through a separation, divorce at the time. And of course, that's very stressful in itself. But I also noticed that things were changing. I didn't quite recognize myself. And I had really sort of heightened episodes of anxieties. And so I was in perimenopause and I was quite young, but I didn't know at the time. I only knew kind of in retrospect because I knew that I'd had night sweats and hot flushes. But I thought at the time, because I was 40, 41, that no, I'm too young. This isn't happening until your 50s and all this, right?
Uh-huh.
And I'd never heard of the word perimenopause. So it was only around actually, I was in perimenopause for probably 7 years in total, but it was really not until 5 years later, when I was doing my yoga teacher training, that some of the other peer trainees mentioned, you might be in perimenopause, because I was still struggling with the anxieties. So then it all kind of made sense when I started reading about it and diving deeper into it. And we know also that when stress exacerbates symptoms. So that's why it all came on probably very quickly also when I was going through this separation and challenging times. So that's
Mhm.
just in very short what happened, what the kind of precursor to it was. Then I started really becoming more and more interested in the body mind connection and how much stress and everything impacts how we feel. And so during childbirth, I'd already then been kind of into this and did a lot of yoga and had home births and etc. So I started I started doing menopause teacher training for yoga.
Mhm.
And then I did my coach certification with IPEC in the US. And then decided last year, actually, 2 years into my new business, that I was going to become a menopause coach. And I did that. So I feel really passionate about this topic from self-lived experiences.
Why do you think so many women sort of suffer in silence?
It's such a good question, and it's kind of mind-blowing, isn't it, in 2025 that it should be that way. But I do believe that there is so much stigma still around this topic, and I think a lot of women feel they have come so far. Perhaps they've had children, they've been through childbirth and made it back to work, and now then perimenopause, and maybe they're not aware, we're not aware, we don't really know so much about our bodies and what to expect after our periods stop and or start going fluctuate, etc. So I think there's a huge sense of pride around it, not wanting to admit that you are at this stage because it's also associated with aging, right? So midlife doesn't maybe have the most sort of sexy quotation to the word, and and so there's a lot of not wanting to accept around the aging part as well. So I think it's really multifaceted, but the stigma, of course, is a big thing, and the workplace where traditionally it hasn't been talked about, but starting to open more.
When you work with your clients, are any of them aware that their symptoms that they're going through are potentially perimenopause, or do women typically come to you feeling anxious or depressed? Or, I know I had friends and I myself have just felt like I wasn't right. Just something
Mm.
wasn't right, but I didn't know what it was.
Mm.
How do you help them recognize what might be happening?
Yes. Uh, a lot of women don't know, but they might suspect it. And there is a lot more, at least here in the UK, and opening more and more in other countries also. So more and more women come to me suspecting that this might be what's happening.
Mhm.
But not everyone does, and they're surprised sometimes how young they are. And they're not actually, because the average age of being in perimenopause is 45 to 51 here in the UK. Differs slightly in some countries, but around that. And a lot of women come to me because they're feeling really, as you say, they don't recognize themselves. And a lot of women feeling like they're starting to withdraw from things that they previously had found easy to do. For example, work tasks, showing up on stage, taking on speaking slots, all these type of things. All of a sudden, they're finding like, oh, that doesn't feel right anymore, and they don't know why. So there's a mix of both, really.
Well, and even myself, I think there's a lot, coming from the medical field, I think there's a lot of controversy as to what's going on. When I was 38 years old, I had a doctor say, well, you're probably in perimenopause. And I thought, what? And
Mm.
then I've had other doctors say, well, your hormones don't suggest that. So I think that there's a little bit of conflicting information out there too as to what kind of denotes, okay, this is perimenopause. Is it symptoms only? Is it lab values? Where's that marker of yes, this is, or no, you're not there yet. Maybe something else is going on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a really good point, Corey. And a lot of women experience exactly this because the fact of the matter is that as of today, it's changing in the UK. As of today, medical doctors, when they study to become a doctor, have not had to have, I mean, maybe it's like 2 hours in the
Uh-huh.
whole years, right? So it's almost like a choice. You don't have to learn about female health or
Mhm.
menopause.
Mhm.
So a lot of women are sent from doctor to doctor without that diagnosis. It's not an illness, but they've been sent from doctor to doctor to have various tests. I was one of them. I thought
Mhm.
something was seriously wrong with me, and it was simply perimenopause. But a lot of doctors still think, and this isn't anything against doctors, it's just the fact that I hear a lot from women as well, think that unless your period has, if you still have a regular period, you can't be in perimenopause. That's kind of but that's not the case. So,
Right.
the doctors, the menopause specialists know that you go by symptoms, and if a woman has these different typical symptoms, then she's most likely in perimenopause. Of course, you check if there's anything wrong if you suspect that, but there's a lack of knowledge even in that field, and so yeah, female health has been underrepresented and under researched for many years. So
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
mm.
Um, if I read the stats correctly, 1 in 4 women considers leaving their job during perimenopause and menopause symptoms. Why do you think that is?
Yeah, so this was a study that was conducted by the Foresight Society in 2022 in the UK. And it turns out that 1 in 10 women leave the workplace because of menopause symptoms. 1 in 4, rightly, as you say, consider doing so
Mhm.
because of lack of support. And when you consider that 1 in 3 women have debilitating symptoms, no wonder then if the workplace is not supporting you, that you would want to withdraw and do something different. And we do see that a lot of women move out of their workplace at this stage between 45, 55 to set
Mhm.
up their own thing or to leave in full, step down, etc. And this is exactly the thing that I'm feeling passionate about being a part of resolving, because we don't want to lose this really important group of talent and experience. So I think a lot of it is lack of support, and as we said before, the stigma around it as well. So if you're finding that you no longer are able to, if you're one of those 1 in 3 who really have debilitating symptoms and you feel like you no longer are able to carry out the tasks or you can't sleep, you're feeling really anxious, then no wonder that you wouldn't feel confident and happy in the workplace anymore.
Mhm. Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's why it's so vital that employees have support in place. And we can tap more into that, but there's a huge amount of things happening at the moment, which is really exciting.
Oh, well, I would love to tap into that. What exactly is happening right now that you know of?
Yeah, so okay, so in Norway, we're doing an event in Norway in April. So just launching the website today, actually. And in Norway, the female health strategy was declared at the end of last year, and the health minister came out to say that we do need to change this. We need to support women in the workplace in menopause, perimenopause. And there's more and more companies, femtech companies who are now starting, and really there's a huge amount of momentum going on around this topic. And in the UK, I believe that the Labour government have put in place so that companies over 250 employees will have to have some support in place by 2026, I think it is.
Wow.
And there's loads of pledges in the
Wonderful.
UK for companies to sign up to. There's so much going on here in this country. So UK is at the very forefront of all this work, which is really exciting.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah.
wonderful. Well,
Mm,
and just as you said, we all need support for various things. If you think of just children in school, they have IEPs and certain specific things here in the States so that they can be successful in their environment. And in
mm,
each stage of our life, the more support we have to be successful in that environment, like you said, people would be more likely to stay, especially in a job that they love, if they're going through something that has significant symptoms, that they feel like they're supported in that time of their life. You also mention midlife being an opportunity rather than
mm,
something to endure. And I hear that so often too from women who have sort of stayed in their lane throughout their career and not branched out and not followed their callings.
Yeah.
Can you speak to that a bit too, of the women leaving the workforce to kind of do something more aligned with their divinity or their
Yes.
divine design?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. This is something we both feel passionate about. So, first of all, I heard this really lovely idea by a HR director the other day where they recognize that women in midlife have this need to do something of meaning.
Mhm.
I'm just talking on average here, right? And
Right.
I recognize this, you recognize it, many of the people we are surrounded by do. So you get to this stage in life, perhaps your kids, if you have kids, have grown up a little bit more and you're still at work, but perhaps there are things changing and you feel like you want to do something of meaning and have a purpose and there's a calling in you that you want to follow.
Mhm.
And so I heard this company that have they've recognized this. So they have given women in the company an opportunity within the working hours to go out and do charity work or meaningful work.
Wow.
And I thought that was such a brilliant idea,
Mhm.
like a really concrete tip to any company that want to invest and keep and retain that talent pool. I thought that was really brilliant. So I think we just get to this stage in life where whether this is the hormonal shifts or not, but something is happening, and we really get curious, a lot of us, about what is it really that I desire, what is it really that's driving me, what are my values. You get curious about those things, and so yeah, I think it's clever of companies to think in a new way about it and come up with some new rules. Why do we have to do things the way we always did them? And I think that's exciting.
Well, and we both, had the opportunity to meet in person in Portland back in the
Yes.
summer, and have had the opportunity to kind of get to know each other through a group consulting program that we're both a part of. And just having other women in your corner who
Mm.
are cheering you on, who are helping you reflect back, well, hold on, does it really need to be that way? We don't have to follow this line anymore. And in that, you've developed the perimenopause and menopause plan and toolkit. Can you talk a little bit about that and what that helps your clients with? I hope you're loving this episode. I just want to pop in and share something that could completely transform the way you think about building your business, aligning your sales with your mission and vision, and scaling your impact both personally and professionally. I want to share a free training, The Four Quadrants of Quantum Sales Growth, from the She Sells team. For entrepreneurs, sales professionals, and anyone building an empire who wants to sell in full alignment, attract high level clients with ease, and create exponential growth without pressure or burnout. This isn't about outdated sales tactics. It's about energetically aligning with your next level of success and stepping into a business that feels abundant, effortless, and scalable. If you're ready to uplevel your sales strategy, expand your reach, and quantum leap your results, grab your free copy now at www.elisearcher.com/CoreyWin. Now, let's get back to the episode.
Yeah, so first of all, yes, it's been such a pleasure to be in this program with you, Corey, and so much comes to the surface, and we learn so much from each other. So as we know, when women come together who want to do work like this and help others, it's really powerful. The menopause plan I didn't develop, but it's part of the menopause teacher training that I did, the coach teacher training. And this is the reason also partly why I wanted to do it. So the woman who runs this company, Women of a Certain Stage in the UK, Lauren Shiren,
Okay.
she is an amazing woman. She has huge experience from this field. She speaks to a lot of the blue chip companies and works with them. And she developed this plan with amazing resources as well, help from menopause specialists, researchers in the UK, nutritionists, etc., etc. So she's brought together this 7-week menopause plan,
Oh,
which
wow.
Yeah, which is absolutely brilliant and it's very impactful. So typically, if I start working with a woman with a plan, we have 8 weeks together, or it doesn't matter how long we have together, but the plan is over 7 weeks. And we start by identifying where she's at the moment and, and set a goal so that we have an end goal for those weeks we are together. And then the whole point with it is that we look at things like nutrition and hydration. We look at how are we with setting boundaries. It's a coaching program and it's individualized. But I think what's really brilliant with it is that at a time when you potentially feel overwhelmed, it's really small incremental steps.
Mhm.
So you build on week by week and you really commit to taking on every task and you do them and you write journals around it and you do everything and you really start quite quickly to notice differences in how you feel.
Mhm.
Because a lot of the time sleep is the first thing to go out the window.
Mhm.
So we look at, do you know that?
Oh yeah.
So we
And you
look
add
at,
anxiety to that, and then it's like, am I not sleeping because of anxiety, or am I not sleeping because of perimenopause, or none of the above, or
yes.
something else going on?
Exactly. So we have to break the cycle somehow. And of course also this goes alongside with seeing your GP, your doctor, because if you may want to go on HRT, that's the first line of treatment in the UK by the British Menopause Society. But this works in any case, it works alongside that because even if you want to go on hormone replacement therapy, you do still want to look at all the other aspects of your life holistically. So, and I
Right.
believe that a lot of this is also, we also need to work on our mindset, or we get to work on our mindset. And that's really a big part of the whole thing. Like earlier, we talked about accepting this stage as well, accepting aging and being comfortable with that and finding excitement in it. So that's kind of in short how we work through the plan.
Well, and I love that piece of excitement because I turned 40 this year. And I mean, I remember telling my husband, he said, what do you want to do? And I said, my husband's older than me. So when he turned 40, we got like the walkers and the black decorations, and it was like your life was over. And
Oh,
and I mean, he's 10 years older than me. So I've had a lot of growth since then.
yeah.
I told him, I said, the way that we look at things now is so different. I said, I don't want any of that.
Mm.
Balloons or flowers, whatever. I don't care. I don't need a big party. But the reason I'm saying this is because a friend of mine came over and she said, "Welcome to the fourth floor. The view is beautiful up here." And I
Ah, I
thought,
like that.
I love that view of this
Yes.
because for so long I mean, I even remember when my mom turned 40 and I thought, she is so old. I
Yeah.
can't imagine. And now I'm here and I thought, yes, welcome to the fourth floor
That's
because here
lovely.
we are. And so many of us too have a lot of wisdom to share.
Mm,
And I hear you empowering women to step out and recognize that wisdom and recognize what they have to offer. So, how do
mm,
you help them align that wisdom and expertise that they have with maybe these symptoms that they're finding challenging, and stay within the workplace or within whatever they're doing in that.
yeah, so good. I love that fourth floor, first of all. And yeah, I mean, we live longer now, right? We have a biggest role in society for longer as well, more responsibilities.
Mhm.
So what we do is first of all to understand where they're at and recognize what is it that's going on and how are you sleeping and all these things. And so looking at sleep is really important. Looking at whether you're hydrated, do you drink enough water? Because if you're dehydrated at perimenopause, your brain fog, the way you feel will be impacted by that. So simple things like those, first of all. And then we align with, where do you want to be and what does it take to get there and how good are you at setting boundaries? Because as we know at this stage in your 40s, whether you have kids or not, there's a lot going on. It's like the perfect storm potentially. So
Yeah.
getting clear on your own boundaries to yourself and to others and all this work, and also how good are you at asking for help, support.
That. Hmm.
Yeah. So it's quite in a way simple things, but they're not simple for many because they're so ingrained in us and it takes a lot of self-work to actually break that cycle. But and that's why I'm saying we do it in really small incremental steps because we want this to be sustainable and lasting. And then of course we do the whole visualizing and see the North Star work, seeing yourself as the future version of you, etc. So, but first of all, at this stage, it's really important to break the kind of the old patterns, if you like, and really getting clear on, yeah, I need support, etc. So yeah.
How many women would you say that you work with who love their jobs and maybe aren't finding the symptoms challenging, but like you said, want to do something of more purpose? How many women are you seeing leaving the workforce to do their own thing? And
Mm.
you are helping them gain clarity in, this is what I want now, not
Mm.
what I thought I should be doing anymore.
I think there's a lot of women that I meet, and not necessarily my clients, but a lot of women I speak to and meet at events and other things I do as well, who feel this way, definitely. And there's also sadly a lot of the women who are in work, who are in leadership roles, who are finding that they're stepping back and stepping out
Mm-hmm.
because they just find they can't cope. I mean, this isn't everyone, but
Right.
and a lot of them don't necessarily, not necessarily my clients, but a lot of women don't know what's going on as well. So they don't even recognize that, it's this and it's passing, right? It's a transition. It's not going to last forever. So if we find the right way of supporting us through, it is so much better.
Yeah. Well, and all of the work that you do to help women understand what's going on in their bodies, what to expect is so important. And I'd love to just kind of hear a little bit more about what's launching today and what's coming in the future. Can you tell the audience about that?
Yes, thanks, Corey. First of all, I just want to speak a little bit to that you said before as well, that women know what's going on with themselves at perimenopause. And as you're a medical profession, so even before that, so that our daughters or daughters-in-law start really from an early age to know their own bodies and track the periods and knowing what's going to happen later on in life. So in the UK now, menopause, for example, is going to be a subject in sex education,
Oh,
which I
wow.
think is so brilliant. And hopefully there's going to be more and more focus on things like period, but also endometriosis and other things that's going on. So female health in general is just so important. So that's that. And
Well,
then,
I'm glad that you really spoke about that because my daughter's 9, and I was just having a conversation with a friend yesterday about all of the honest conversations we're already having, whether it's
uh,
about her life, what she should expect, about sex, about all the things
mm,
that weren't talked about when I was a kid. I mean, I remember having questions and thinking, there is no way I can ask my mom about that. I don't know what would happen, but I just know that I can't.
yeah.
So I love that that's going to be coming in the UK because here in the States, I do feel like in some areas, it's like, oh, no, we can't talk about that. That's not appropriate. We can't talk about that. And until we learn and know what's normal, what's abnormal, then as women, we can feel very alone that
Yeah.
this is only happening to me, or even as our young daughters, well, we don't talk about this, so I must be the only one who feels this way. So
Yeah.
just being open and honest and having those conversations
Yeah.
about what could happen or what you might expect is so important.
So important. And that really leads us really well then into what we are doing. So that's exactly the intention behind the company that we're launching, Your Health, Our Wealth, with two collaborators. And we are launching in Oslo at the beginning of April. So we're going to be launching with a participation at a big sustainability conference, the largest European sustainability conference called the She Conference. So we're going to have a live stream conversation with two guests and a moderator around menopause in the workplace and talk solutions, etc. And we have our own impact event on the 3rd of April, and then a smaller workshop on the 5th of April. So we have a big week in Oslo that week and launching a podcast as well. And we want to take this to other countries. We'll do something in the UK, but also really want to come to the States and do something in the US. And that's the whole intention behind it. It's both for the corporates, but it's also for women and for entrepreneurs and anyone who wants to join to be part of this conversation and raise awareness in the topic. And even, even that a lot is happening in the UK already, but just sort of showing that it's not necessarily it doesn't have to be a stigma anymore. We need to
Right.
change this. Yeah. So it's a big topic and there's many things to discuss. We're really excited about our launch that week, and I'll certainly be posting and sharing. But our website for that is yourhealthourwealth.com. And we
Okay.
want to build a community as well, because I know that the menopause plan, for example, I will work with groups and go through this in various formats, but many women feel like they don't want to, like you say, they don't want to talk to anyone about it. So it can feel quite personal and embarrassing and shameful for some. And we really want to change that. So we want to have sort of really safe spaces as well as the bigger events. So that's what we're doing. It's really
I love
exciting.
that so much. And I just love this honest conversation because I do think a lot of women are afraid to start that conversation. So if you can start it, if I can start it and bring it and just have it be in a very open, non-judgmental, hey, this is what I'm
Yeah.
seeing. This is where what I've been working on. It allows other people to just take that weight off their shoulders of, oh, okay, maybe we can actually talk about this.
Yes, exactly. And I think also not to forget the men in our lives,
Mhm.
because often they don't know how to approach the topic as well. So if we as women ourselves support each other as and our sisters for each other, because you may not be one of the three who suffer debilitating symptoms, and actually you may be one of those who don't hardly feel anything, any changes at all. But it's really important that we are there for each other and make others around us feel comfortable. So yes, really important.
And just open, honest conversation. I just laugh with my husband because, he has like three blankets on his side of the bed and I only have one. And we
Yeah.
sleep perfectly fine, but don't mess with the blankets because, and I hear about that and chuckle because, again, as a younger person, this wasn't talked about. You heard about hot flashes, you heard about things, and until you live it, it's like, oh, well, that's not a big deal. But
Mm.
I want to make sure that people can get in touch with you, they can follow you. So how does our audience find you?
Yes, yes. I'm on Instagram as Torild Boe, Torild.boe. Instagram and LinkedIn. My LinkedIn is Torild Boe Stokes, and my website, torildboe.com. And I would love to hear from anyone. I have put on my website a menopause toolkit with some tip and advice for anyone who might be interested in that. So yeah, come follow me and connect with me on Instagram or LinkedIn. That'd be lovely.
Absolutely. Torild is absolutely lovely. So you do want to connect with her.
Mm.
Do you have any lasting thoughts to just leave with our audience?
I would just say that if you suspect that things are changing, that you suspect you might be in perimenopause and not feeling quite like yourself, there's a lot of resources out there. It's good to start tracking your symptoms, tracking your periods, and start checking what is actually going on and how you're affected by the way you live your life, and start checking and getting curious about it, I think I would say. Yeah.
I love that. Always be curious.
Yes.
Really. Thank you so much for being on today.
Thank you, Corey.
As we close out today's episode, I want to leave you with this. Your next level is already within you. If you're feeling that pull for more clarity, more alignment, and more courage to step fully into who you're meant to be, this is your invitation to take the next step. Whether you're an entrepreneur ready to scale or a woman standing at the edge of something bigger, the path forward starts with trusting your desires, owning your worth, and leading with your inner knowing. This is exactly what I offer: private VIP coaching, and where I guide women inside the 10K Club and 50K Club through consulting with She Sells and Superhuman Selling to help you gain clarity, step into aligned action, and build a life and business that reflects your highest vision. If you're ready to explore what's next, let's have a conversation. Book a free call now at www.corywinn.com/free call. I can't wait to connect with you. Talk soon.